there everyone, welcome to Meghan and Matt's YouTube channel. I'm Meghan.
And I'm Matt.
We're gonna show you all the things that they never show you in the van tours.
So we built our van DIY 100% with no experience. So in case you're a little bit worried that maybe your van doesn't look great either,
no one's does.
No one's does. We're gonna show you ours and all the imperfections that we have.
We have a full van tour up on our YouTube channel, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
Everything that we did in our van was 100% on purpose, except for those things that we did by accident, but even then, we accidentally did those on purpose.
Something people usually don't notice when they walk into the door is our flooring. It looks beautiful, but over here on the trim, we didn't do a good job of making sure that it's flush, and we also didn't caulk it like Matt said that we would, so we get a lot of dirt and grime in there all the time.
The next thing that's a little bit janky is our heater installation. So our heater sits underneath our passenger seat, but I didn't realize when I bought it that I bought the big heater, so oops, but our van does stay nice and warm. But the way I had to position it, the vent for the outlet kind of is not prime. It's not the best direction that we want it to be, but it works fine, so it's whatever. It's a little thing. And this wire, I probably could have done a little bit better job hiding it, but I didn't, so.
If you saw our van tour, you'll know that Matt really fought hard for these drawer handles, but he was so upset when these two front ones didn't turn out the same size. So the top one is a little longer and the bottom one is a little shorter. I think it looks okay, but Matt doesn't like it too much.
In my defense, it's not that I don't like how they came out, it's just that when we first did the build, and that was the very first thing that you saw when you opened the door, that was the only thing that bothered me. I don't even notice or care about it now. By the time you're on the road for a little while, all these little imperfections that you used to see all the time, they just become part of the personality of the van.
We have some beautiful puck lighting in this straight line except this one right here, which drives me crazy. No one else can see it except me. We originally were gonna put a shower here. We obviously didn't, so it's just an off-center puck light. One of the things that took me forever to figure out is how to finish the second door because we ran out of shiplap panels and I kind of needed to just put it together really jankily, which I did, and I always cover it up when people come inside. You might not be able to tell, but that's exposed insulation right there. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it's just Havelock wool, so it's not like fiberglass or anything like that, so it really doesn't matter if it's exposed or not.
Yep, but we also have some exposed insulation there.
What it really comes down to is we had a hard time figuring out all of the trim for all of the metal around the van. So if you look at the van from the front, you're like, oh, I don't see it. But then you look in the back. Up here, we didn't really know what to do. This is just some canvas bag that contains the exposed insulation. And then back here, I don't know, didn't try to figure out. We were just kind of over it at that time and we just wanted to get on the road, so. It's our perfectly imperfect van.
A fly.
Fly guts.
Ew.
If you live in a van, you will have flies or some kind of bugs at some point, so it's just something you gotta deal with. Like all of these bug spatters. It's a war zone. It's a war zone. Choosing white as a color, we knew when we were doing it that it would get dirty. But we might have underestimated it just a little bit how dirty it would really get. Which kind of goes into our next thing of when we painted all of our drawer faces, we didn't use a primer. So as you can see, the knots kind of poke their way through. Are we going to paint them in the future? Probably not. Probably not.
I actually had a lovely time putting these window frames together, and you might think it looks nice and boxy and it's framed out, but it's not. What I actually did was do a frame. It didn't completely look great, so I just painted black around to make it look like it was square, but it's actually not. And sometimes we just need to like push it in to make it snug.
So I didn't do a great job making these shaker fronts. I just did it. I also didn't install gas struts, so it works out just great for me because I can just hold it up with my head and get out whatever I need.
But Meghan gets angry.
But Meghan can't because she's too short. Next build.
Something that you definitely don't see pretty often is the back of our benches, because we usually have it covered with pillows. But they're not finished. I don't know why we didn't finish it. Oh, because we ran out of shiplap. That's why. There's no other reason.
So on both sides above the wheel wells right here, when I measured and planned to make the cuts with this one sheet of plywood, because that's all this is, I was off by about 9 inches on both sides. I have absolutely no idea how it happened, but basically I cut off way too much, and we just had to make little band-aids, let's call it. Little band-aids to put it back together.
We?
Yeah, didn't you actually do that side?
I did it.
Yeah,
You didn't do it.
I made the mistake, Megan fixed it.
Yep. We had these cushions custom made, and I gave them the exact dimensions. Did I measure where the crease was in the bench before I sent them the dimensions? Clearly not, because this one goes over, and so if I want to open this drawer, I have to take both of them out.
The next thing that is a little bit janky in our van are these two cabinets here. These are our pantries. The drawers themselves work great. It's just the drawer fronts that don't look great. The frame of this counter was a little bit crooked and off, and these were the first drawers I made, so obviously they were going to be the tough drawers, the experimental drawers, if you will.
Are you going to tell them that I told you it was crooked and you were like, it's not crooked, and then when you went to make the drawers, you're like, dang, it's crooked?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Oop. That didn't happen before.
No, that's a new problem. I think as things are starting to settle in the van and the van is starting to get a little used to us, it's kind of being a little bit of a rebellious teenager.
Yeah.
It's got the terrible twos. It's 2 years old.
Naughty.
She naughty. Megan insisted that the switch would be here. So this is for our on-demand hot water. Megan wanted to put the switch right there. And I told her, no, let's put it inside the cabinet so it doesn't get bunked. And sure enough, when we first moved in the van, we were turning it on all the time. So we're just unnecessarily running our inverter, drawing a lot of power, you know.
Well, in my defense, I thought it was immediate. Like, you turn on the switch and then you get hot water immediately. Well, that's not the case.
You have to wait for it to heat up, so it takes probably
So in that case, the switch could have been anywhere.
When I built the upper cabinets, I built the frame inside the van, and then I put the faces on and the bottom part. So if I were to do it again, I would definitely build them out of the van, then install them in the van. It was stupid. And in order to make them look good on the outside, I had to make it... I think that just speaks for itself. The next thing that's kind of janky is our Wii Boost. I had it up on our ceiling, held up with some VHB tape, which is supposed to be good for like 30 pounds or something like that. And the Wii Boost only weighs like 2, maybe 1, I don't know. But basically because the Wii Boost gets hot, it just melted the tape, so now it just sits on the ground. Let's take a second to talk about our countertops. So we were able to get away with buying one 8-foot section of butcher block counter. Originally we were going to have one long counter, and this was going to be a shower. And then we realized we weren't going to have a shower, but this was already made to fit over here where the sink was going to go. So we turned it 90 degrees, and this became big drawers. And our counter has a nice seam in it where I was going to put some caulk or some sealant, and then I didn't. So when we first moved into the van, it was really hot, and our fridge was definitely not working as efficiently as it needed to because it was just so hot in the van that it was just not working properly. So I cut in some ventilation, and if you look really closely, this is one of the worst cuts actually probably the worst cut in the van. I think I made it with a handsaw because we were on the road and I didn't have anything else. And then I just put this over it, and to this day, I'm not sure if it makes a difference, but I like to think that it does. If you guys are building a van or thinking about building a van, don't strive for perfection. It's not going to happen. You're going to get frustrated. Accidents are going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. And that's all part of the build, and it's all part of the build process, and it's part of what it's like living in a van. Yeah, and we actually did a video where we talked about all of the things that we did wrong during our van build, and unfortunately we didn't put Stop Being a Perfectionist on it. So if you want to watch that, I'm going to put it right here. Thank you for watching our Van Tour of Imperfections. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Watch it. It's right there.
Right there.